I got into like Moths to Flames when they released their album An Eye for an Eye back in 2013, and I've been a pretty big fan since. They just released Dark Divine, so let's take a listen. One minor thing that I really like about this band that might get passed up by a lot of people is that they name some of their songs after pop culture references of things that I like anyway, like in An Eye for an Eye. They have a song titled A Feast for Crows and a song titled Lord of Bones, both great Game of Thrones references. And then in Dark Divine, their new album, they have a song called Mischief Managed, which is obviously a Harry Potter reference. Sue me, I'm a nerd, okay? Chris Redder, the vocalist, has some of the most recognizable screams in the business, and I personally think that he always kills it. I also love a lot of the singing melodies that he writes. There's a lot of great choruses on this album along with breakdowns, but that's kind of a given. In the song Shallow Truths for Shallow Minds, they have one of their catchiest choruses to date that transitions nicely into one of the best breakdowns on the album.
Nothing God ever comes to the wise away. Blinds only lead the blind to the fucking grave.
Great part early on in the album, and also a fun note about that song is towards the end, I think that Chris kind of sounds like Ronnie Radke with his screaming, although I'm not sure how Chris would feel if he heard that feedback. Like Moths to Flames definitely utilize a lot of angry lyrics that are usually directed at somebody specific. I think that Chris has a history of writing stuff about his dad. Did I just make that up? I don't know, I feel like that's a thing. But anyway, in the title track, Dark Divine, he makes a bold statement saying that he tried to talk to God, but he only handed him a rope, which is a pretty intense lyric. But other than that lyric, I think that the title track definitely falls short for me, unfortunately. Some of these songs did take a couple of listens to stick with me, like Empty the Same. I think that one of the reasons that song took a while is the lyrical content, where he's talking about his ex is better off without him, and he's a piece of shit, yada yada. But the song is pretty catchy at times. There is a decent breakdown in the song From the Dust Returned, but unfortunately there is a bit of a lull in this album for me with tracks 4, 5, and 6. But they do get me hooked again with track 7, called Even God Has a Hell. The singing melodies are so catchy and emotional, and I think overall the band has a lot more clean singing on this album than heavy vocals, at least more than they traditionally do. And that might contribute to the lull that I was talking about in the album, but I think in songs like Even God Has a Hell, the singing definitely shines. I will admit that the breakdown in that song isn't super great, but the rest of the song is superb. There are still a couple of highlights in the back half of the album for me, like the bridge section in Mischief Managed. And the ending of that song is pretty great too. If anything, I think that the mix on the album could have been a bit punchier at times, giving it a little more impact, especially on the breakdowns. Mischief Managed could also be used as like a typical case of what a like Moths to Flames sound would sound like. And according to the vocalist, it's about letting someone go that's kind of been weighing you down. Instinctive Intuition is a pretty self-explanatory song. It's about following your gut. And I think that the highlight of that song is, again, another sick breakdown.
Damned to suffer at the hands of another. Burns out like fucking breath.
The Skeletons I Keep was a nice little treat this late in the album. Didn't mean to rhyme there. You get a little bit of everything, some soft verses, a moment of heaviness with the breakdown, and I'll give you some background on a couple of the lyrics in this song. The lyrics are, I feel dead in this room, hear the sound of waves, I close my eyes and it brings me back to life. So I guess Chris was sitting in a room while they were writing, he was having a bit of writer's block, and he closed his eyes and he started thinking about the ocean, and he just felt so weightless. And then I guess after that moment, the rest of that song kind of started coming to life. To end the album, we get another banger called False Idol, another catchy chorus, another great breakdown, kind of a typical metalcore song, but they do a great job with it. And then they treat us to 30 seconds of just hectic insanity to close the track out and the album out, with the final lyrics fittingly being, I'm fucking done, kind of just signaling the end of the album. So overall, what are my thoughts on Dark Divine, the new album by Like Moths to Flames? I'd say it's alright. Nothing made me jump out of my seat at it, but they do have a couple of good songs that I'll be rocking for the week, like New Plagues, Nowhere Left to Sink, Even God Has a Hell, and False Idol. Instead of being able to claim that the first half of the album or the second half of the album was the strongest, I think that in a case like this, they shine at the beginning and the end, and like I was talking about, that lull in the middle kind of explains that. My favorite track would probably be Even God Has a Hell. I don't think that's a very popular answer, but something about that song just kind of ticked with me. My least favorite song is probably the title track, Dark Divine, unfortunately. But don't worry, I wouldn't say that any of these songs suck, so it's definitely an album that you'll want to stick through to the end. The lyrics do lack at times, and I think a couple of the songs you might confuse with one another, but there are other times where the lyrics are fantastic, and again, I think one of the strongest parts of this album is the vocal melodies. You'll get a taste of some breakdowns throughout, so make sure you're ready to headbang a bit. Unless you're driving. Don't do that. It's not safe, kids. Okay, guys, thanks for checking out the review. Let me know what you thought of the album in the comments below. Are you gonna have this album on repeat at all? What are your favorite tracks? What's your favorite line or breakdown? Let's discuss down below. If you enjoyed the album, make sure to grab it with the link in the description. It'll really help out the channel. You can also check out my new website if you want some photography content. Find me on social media, stalk me, poke me, lick me, kick me, whatever you kids are doing these days. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks, guys. Rock on.